It is the year of our Lord, 1799. I write these lines from a lost monastery in the Pyrenees, whose name and existence few know. Although I came here as a guest, I am now a prisoner. Monastic life goes on with apparent normality behind these walls. But know this: serious events are being concealed. Long ago, an order of His Majesty...
Sneak around a monastery that changes dynamically based on the time of day in order to uncover its horrible secrets. Welcome everyone, StealthyShiroean here, and today I'm taking a first look at Stone of Madness. The Game Kitchen is developing this game with Tripwire Presents acting as publisher. You may recognize the Game Kitchen from their very popular Blasphemous series, which is a dark gothic action platformer. It had a very strong sense of setting, and Stone of Madness is no different. Let's see if this is something to add to your wish list. Stone of Madness has a really striking visual style. Apparently, the art is inspired by Francisco de Goya's work, who was an 18th century Spanish artist. After looking over some of his work, I definitely can see it in the colors used for the monastery, as well as the style used in the portraits when talking with characters. However, I really like their cartoon cinematics and actually wish there were more of them. Although this cartoon aesthetic, both in and outside of the cinematics, did seem to clash with the portraits used in dialogue. Despite this, each style of art is done impeccably, and obviously there was a lot of work put into the environments and frame-by-frame animations. Possibly outside of their budget, but I would have loved to have seen these characters have more voiced lines. It's definitely more of a nitpick, but I think it could have added a lot to the characters, assuming they had decent voice actors. The story starts with Father Alfredo discussing how he was invited to the monastery to assist them, only to then be imprisoned after Alfredo began questioning the corruption and maltreatment he saw in the insane asylum. It's after the introductory cutscene where we see a young girl being taken deep into the monastery, and Alfredo wants to find out why and help her. Along the way, he meets an eclectic cast of characters being Eduardo, a strong but mute man who's been in the asylum, Leonora, a feisty watchmaker's daughter who's not afraid to get her hands dirty, Amelia, a young child who's cared for by the nuns, and Agnes, a crazy old lady who may or may not be a witch. Of course, they all have their own backstories and seemed interesting enough for me to want to find out more about them. The mystery presented to the player seemed compelling as well because there's obvious implications that more is going on than meets the eye. At night, there are also supernatural elements that manifest themselves and wander around the monastery trying to catch the various characters. Because of the title of the game and the use of sanity and traumas, I assume there are also Lovecraftian horror influences in the story, which did catch my interest. I didn't see too much of this yet, but good Lovecraftian horror is usually a slow burn anyway. Either way, I'm eager to play through the full story when the game is fully released. Oh, and it's worth pointing out that the game is actually going to have 2 campaigns to play through. Stone of Madness is a real-time tactical stealth game, so that might make or break it for you. Everything is very heavy on stealth gameplay, so you'll need to pay attention to patrols, wait patiently for openings, and stay away from any watchful eyes. In order to do this, you have a cast of characters at your disposal as mentioned earlier. They each have their own abilities that help them in specific situations. Eduardo, the mute, can move large objects or throw rubble to create distractions. Or Leonora can knock out guards, or kill them, and also climb up certain walls to get to hard-to-reach areas. Obviously, these characters can't walk around the monastery with impunity. There are prohibited areas where the guards will catch characters if caught. To add to the complexity, there is also a dynamic day-night cycle. As night approaches, the guards become less lenient to random wanderings. At the same time, phantoms, called animas, come out at night, and these require a bit more finesse to sneak past, as they don't care about prohibited areas or not. Furthermore, at least at this stage in the game I was at, only the priest could stun the anima. Additionally, each of these characters have their own morals and phobias that can make exploration a bit tricky. If a character gets too close to a phobia, such as Leonora's fear of fire, then they'll lose sanity. If their sanity drops to 0, they'll gain a trauma, which further changes how you play as each character, such as the priest getting headaches whenever he hears loud noises. What I really liked is how open the monastery felt after the tutorial. There are multiple ways to tackle an objective that utilize the characters in different ways, such as using Leonora to get to a high spot, and then Alfredo to find a secret passage behind a tapestry, or using Eduardo to create a passage to climb up, all to get inside a cell to talk to an imprisoned friar. I liked exploration and how the game rewarded you for experimenting. And at the end of every day, all the characters can take specific actions for the night to help prepare for the next day. This can range from the priest or Leonora helping to heal the party, whether physically or mentally. You can craft items that you might need for the next day, or reduce the heat on the characters. I wasn't entirely sure what the last one did, but I assumed it made the guards slower to be suspicious of a character. All that said, the game is a bit difficult though, at least for me. Trying to control all the characters at once was challenging, especially when they were under a chase. I got better at it by not keeping them so close together so I could operate others if they were caught, although as long as it's not late at night, anyone caught will appear at the start position. I do wonder if it would benefit from something like a real-time with pause, but I understand this would probably ruin the intended feel of the game. Before I jump into my final thoughts, please consider giving this video a like if you enjoyed it, as that helps me out greatly with the YouTube algorithm gods. I put about 2 hours into the demo and really enjoyed my time with it. I don't usually play these sorts of games, but I thought it was fun. Freedom to explore the monastery and tackle problems as the players see fit is nice and gives the players satisfaction for figuring out how to achieve objectives on their own. Between the characters and their own individual abilities, the game gives the players a nice toolbox to tackle the game's obstacles. Along with any feedback previously mentioned, I also had a couple other suggestions for improvement if the devs are watching. First, making some of the interactables a bit easier to click. Sometimes it was really annoying when I couldn't get a character to do something because the clickable area was too small. This was especially annoying in a chase solely because I couldn't click on a ledge or something similar. Also, the range between characters for exchanging items maybe can be increased. I found it really tricky to get that right sweet spot to have one of my characters interact with Leonora behind bars in order to give her lockpicks. Admittedly, this was the only time I had this problem, but at the time, I wasn't sure if it was me or if the game was broken. If any of this sounded like something you'd enjoy, then you can try out the demo yourself. For those who'd rather wait, then Stone of Madness will release on January 29th, 2025. And if you do play the demo, then let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't, then let me know if it looks like something you'd be interested in, or if you have any other questions. I hope this video helped you in some small way, and if it did, then please consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, or whatever it is you feel like doing. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.